This is Nick.
I'm Nick.
He's been a good friend of mine for years, and he's always down to help with any of my builds, from routine maintenance to restoring rust buckets. He's always willing to help without much complaint.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So when he and his dad, Russ, told me that they had purchased an MR2 for a track car, I was ecstatic to help build it. So here's the plan. Source some top tier parts, blow up the engine. Oh, what is that?
Oh no!
Wait, blow up the engine? That's not part of the plan. Oh well, replace that blown up engine with a newer engine, install that new engine, boost it, tune it, track it, let's go.
Well, you might remember from episode 2 that TurboKits.com has chosen to go with water methanol injection instead of a traditional air-to-air intercooler. They say an intercooler will become heat-soaked in the hot engine bay of an MR2, and I think I have to agree with them. I'm sure with some creative piping and aerodynamics, people have made it work, but that's not the style of this build. What is a simple and proven AEM water methanol injection kit.
This version has a new injector design that has been shown to significantly improve atomization and cooling response times, all while using less fluid. We really love this kit, and AEM has included everything you might need.
The purpose of water meth is twofold. First and foremost, decrease intake temperature, and secondly, increase octane. See, as the water and methanol evaporates in the intake, it's pulling energy out of the air in order to make that phase change, and thus cooling the air and making the air more dense. And at the same time, methanol is a high octane fuel, which essentially means it resists combustion. All of this means we can increase boost and advance ignition timing without needing to run E85 or high octane race fuel. The beauty of methanol injection is that we have precise control over when and how much methanol is injected. This means when we're just cruising down the highway, only standard 93 octane pump gas is being used, but floor it and the controller will start injecting methanol to match the boost levels.
All right, so Caleb and Nick from the future here. I missed something on last week's video that we want to just point out really quick because it is important.
So normally on your valve cover, you're gonna have your PCV valve right here, which is a one-way valve, only lets air out and not in, and that tube connects to the throttle body in the back. That is gonna stay. We're not gonna touch that at all because the boost pressure is not gonna come back in because of that one-way valve. But another part of this system is that when air comes out, it also means the air needs to come in, and that is through the breather. That line normally goes also to the throttle body, and that would cause a huge boost leak. We'd basically be just pushing boost through the valve cover, and that's bad. So this is just a pretty standard like 1.5 inch air filter that goes on there and allows air to enter or exit if there's an engine blow-by.
Gotcha. And just point to the throttle body again, just so I get a...
Oh yeah, and so the spot that it normally goes to is right here.
Okay.
And that, the kit comes with a little nipple there that gets clamped over to block up that little spot.
Perfect. And this has been Nick and Caleb from the future.
Right there, it lines up perfect.
That's all you would need is the two.
That's it, two, and then if we want
maybe like a
we could
self-tapper
drill
on the
a
other
hole
side or
here
something.
And go into this threaded hole. This is a threaded hole right there, slightly off. If we
I
drilled,
don't like that.
we just moved this one to there.
But these are threaded in here, right? So you have to have...
Yeah, we have those.
Wow, so there's already 2 bolts already there,
Oh, man.
already threaded, ready to go. How nice is that? So, that's really cool.
Let's take the bracket off.
You want the bracket off?
Yeah.
The bracket off.
I do. Ooh. It goes into the rubber, but it doesn't go through the plate. Ah!
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Oh, now I'm confused. Is there like a metal bit in there? Oh, maybe it will force. Maybe I just need to force it through then. Because that hole's big.
That's a big hole, yeah.
Yeah.
Want some soapy water?
Why are you putting it back?
Whew. Alright, we gotta hold it.
Okay, I'm not supposed to.
There you go, and then this one. Nice. That's awesome.
Just place it down there just to show.
Let's see if it actually lines up. It might not line up anymore. It looked like it was gonna line up, but it might not be that perfect. Oh, it's that perfect.
Wow.
That's ridiculous.
That's great. There's one for you, one for me.
Did this size fit?
Yep, that was perfect.
What a cool pump. I love that piece of gear. It's aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, it's a pretty high quality pump. Little something.
Think anything's happening? Well, we couldn't because it was in the way. Now you'll know if it...
You have to like do them both exactly at the same time.
Is there...
That's not bad, what you got going on right
I
there.
know, doesn't that feel right?
Yeah, it feels
It
really
does,
right.
but there's just no...
Just do like, see if you can do like one turn,
Not
two
much you can
turns.
do.
One turn,
It's
two
hard
turns.
to even get in there.
This is in the way. It's the only reason you can't... You know, the frame...
but even if I can
the
get
frame is in the way.
Even if I can get the rubber on there, I can force it down, but...
Yeah, see if you can get in.
No, you're right. It probably needs to be cut. Alright, cut it. Yeah, it's that crappy of a wrench. This side doesn't fit at all, but this side fits. Oh, that looks like garbage.
This simple 2-box knob lets us decide at what level of boost the methanol begins to spray, and at what point the injector is at full intensity.
The wiring is obviously a little tricky. The plumbing, though, super simple. So they just give you this little, I think it's nylon tubing, super easy to cut, and these fittings are just awesome. If you want to install a line, here we go. I have installed the line going from the bottom of the tank, and then you check the arrows going on the pump. The arrows are going this way, so that means that the tank is going to go into this, and then this is going to go into the nozzle. So here we go. It is a simple as that. Done. And look at that, it's good. If you want to remove it, you push in, you hold this little inner piece, the plastic piece in, while pulling out, and you can remove it. But it's really not meant to be removed, and so I'm not going to. There you go, easy peasy. I like it. We are not going to install the next line going into the nozzle because we're going to want to wire this up and then fill up the tank and flush the system. We're just going to put some distilled water in here, make sure that everything is working, the wiring's working, and also just like clean out the pump and the tubing and everything, make sure everything's totally clear before we put the actual boost juice in and hook up the nozzle. Jesse has been so kind to give us a few extra fittings. These are actually for the AEM Meth kit, but they don't come in the AEM box. They're just coming with all the extra fittings that Jesse gives you in the Turbo Kits box. And this gives you a few more options if you're looking to do, some right angle stuff. And I actually want to, because of the location of this pump, I'm going to install this right angle on this side. There we go. So that now I can install the line going straight up, and that will give me a really nice clean run right up to the nozzle. And I'll probably put the right angle on the nozzle as well. Let's do that. That is a bit of a tight fit, gotta say. I think we push this thing. Yeah, that's it. And it just pushes right in. Nice. There we go. I'm gonna hook up the line going out of the pump. but I'm gonna hold off on actually connecting to the nozzle. They have given us just an obscene amount of wire, which would make sense for a normal car. But in an MR2, obviously we actually don't need that much wire. So first off, we figure out which wires are going to stay in the car, which ones are gonna go through the firewall. What we're gonna do is red battery, black battery, and then pink pump positive, orange pink pump negative, and then the white and brown, which is fluid level positive negative. And that's it. LEDs, boost safe, oh, and also brown white solenoid. So basically, the only thing that's staying in the car is going to be your yellow, green, violet, and gray. So here we go. These are the ones that are going to go through the firewall, and I got them all bunched up, and I'm just going to pass them all through and then trim them later. Here we go. I used the bottom grommet. That's the one that the engine harness goes through. I just taped off the end and fed all those lines through at once, as you can see. Just put a little tape on the end. That is also where you'd run your vacuum manifold line. If you, I guess we're using the piggyback ECU. In this case, we're using the standalone, which means we've already actually run a vacuum line from the manifold to the standalone ECU. So we're going to tee off of that inside the car, so that we don't need to run a second boost line. That's the rubber kind of flexible line. We won't need to run a second one through the firewall. No reason to do that. And then second thing here is wire protection. Dude, I really just don't want these wires exposed like this. So they give you a little bit of split loom. I'm gonna reserve that for the high heat areas down here. And then you could just get more split loom, or I personally love this expandable sleeving, this stuff. You can get this in split as well, so you can add new wires to it. This is not, so you need to really plan it out, but it provides great abrasion resistance. It does not really provide any sort of wet or heat protection, but will prevent, friction resistant stuff. So yeah, I'm going to pass a little bit, just a few feet of the expandable sleeving, basically through the firewall up to about here, and that's where the wires are going to split. My red and black are going to go obviously positive negative, and then the rest of them I'll use another set of expandable sleeving starting there to down to the pump. And at that point we'll just use I guess the split loom up to the fuel sensor. It's probably a good idea. That is clean. Ran everything inside of loom, whether it's split loom or the expandable sleeve. So I added something. I just did not love that there was not a fuse on your battery positive. I know that the actual boost controller itself is fused. It has a 15 amp ATC fuse right on the side of it. But it's a long wire between the controller and here, and that, I don't love that. So I added one of these inline fuses. I put a 20 in it just so it's a little bit higher than the 15, And so it just gives you a little added protection. Again, you know, heat shrink. I used the harness wrap as much as I could, and made sure that basically there are no exposed wires at all. And then I put the negative up onto, this actually comes straight from the battery negative down to the chassis negative. So I ran it there, just to have less wires, kind of move it around up here. I prefer to keep it down here and protected. And let's see, so I ran the level sensor, negative positive, behind there, and then kind of tied it all together. Probably overthought all of this. Too many zip ties, too much protection, but it is what it is, and all the wires are super protected. And yeah, I would have loved probably to add an actual connector here between the wiring harness and the pump. I think that would have been really nice, so that you could easily just unplug the pump if you had to, but oh well, maybe another time. So I just used the regular butt connectors and just crimped them right to the wiring harness, and then I left the solenoid wire just kind of taped off in here in case I ever need it. We can kind of tap it off of there. Now it's time to go inside. Now I'm going to tee off of our vacuum line, our manifold line, so that I can go into the controller and also into the standalone ECU. I've kind of separated out the gray and violet, which is for the boost, it's for the LED. It's like a warning LED, and I think it tells you that the system's working and also how much it's working. So I think the light like pulses based on how much it's outputting. And I haven't quite decided where I'm gonna put this. So for now, that is just gonna go off to the side. The only thing we have left is going to be green and yellow. Let's see. Green is gonna be our boost safe. So that basically grounds whenever, I would need to confirm. It either grounds when the system's working or doesn't work. It doesn't really matter. The point is you'd want to use that, feed that data into your ECU so you can provide some engine protection. And I do plan on doing that. So this green wire is gonna go into one of our analog ins here on the ECU, so that we can just provide a little extra safety. And so in that case, I might not even end up using the LED, just because I have the data in the ECU. So if that ends up grounding, or maybe I'll need to invert that, then I can add in some sort of engine protection, you know, cut boost, I don't know what we'll do. And then the last one is gonna be just our yellow activate. So basically just switched power, and I need to figure out what wire in here is switched power. Gotta figure that one out. Let me take a look. Found the switched power. This diagram is pretty helpful. It is number 18, ignition 12 volt, which is right there. First one in, the second one on the bottom row. So when you're looking at it, it's going to be like this. On the underside of this one, red wire, of course. It's the only red, purely red wire there. Actually, I don't know if that's true. It seems like it might be. With this red wire, I don't know. Anyway, it's this guy. I'm going to cut and then put a butt splice in there and use some heat shrink on both sides. You can watch me do it if you insist. right, with the necessary wiring done, just threw the battery in there temporarily. Let's throw some distilled water in here and hit that test button. And let's see if it works. Let's make a mess. Oh, fail. Using my left hand, all right? I don't know why I put so much in. Let's check for leaks. It's kind of hard to tell when everything's wet. Sorry. All right. Test number 1. Does it work? That's not it. Does it work without power? Good, it doesn't. Oh, yeah. Have the little status light go on. Oh, I heard it. I heard it. Kind of hard to check though. There we go. Hit that status button. Yeah. There it is. Excellent. Now a little siphoning action. Thought it wasn't supposed to do that. I guess that would explain why you do need the injector above the tank, / why you could use the solenoid. Well, it definitely works. Yeah, I'm just making a mess now. Cool, that's exciting.
Now you guys have to remember that methanol is very flammable and toxic by itself. Do not run straight methanol. We personally use Snow Performance's Boost Juice, which you can get on Amazon. They very conveniently pre-mix it to 49% methanol, 51% water, so that they can legally say there is more water to methanol and keep you safe and keep you legal at most tracks.
All right, so a few notes on the water meth kit, just to keep in mind, is basically your 3 different levels here. Highest point in the whole system should be your injector. In this case, it's pretty dang close. It's probably right at the line of the injector, and most of the time it's not going to be full. It should be fine. But if it's lower, as you saw before, it can create a little siphoning effect, and you can end up just dumping a whole bunch of boost juice into your intake. That would be bad. And it does not help that the car is jacked up right now. But it is a little on the high side. So now that I say that, it probably could come down an inch or 2. We'll see if there's a problem. We'll keep you updated. And then the lowest point in the system should be your pump, which they say should be around the bottom level, but it's most important that it is not above the bottom. It's a little below the bottom. So honestly, the tank could really have used to be a couple inches lower, but this just worked out really nice for the mounting position. So we'll see if this works. If not, we'll lower it down later. Only additions that I made to the kit was the fuse on the battery cable, and then the only thing I'm going to do is the boost safe level, the output from the controller that will tie into the ECU to provide some sort of ECU protection. So other than that, we're good to go. Fairly simple. Time consuming though. Definitely time consuming. Oh, and of course, setting it up. So of course, one of the most important aspects of this is your settings. These are the settings that I'm starting with, just for just basic road use, just as a really safe benchmark. But we're gonna dial these in once we get to the tuner. It's really hard to make a judgment call on this without an actual dyno, because we are using this for multiple purposes. We're using this as essentially our intercooler. We're using it to reduce intake temperature. And obviously there is a close relationship between intake temperature and detonation, pre-ignition, knock, all that stuff. it's a close relationship, but it's not directly tied, because with the water meth, not only are we reducing intake temperatures, which will therefore also reduce detonation, but it also increases octane by introducing methanol. So we're really doing two things at once, and if we were trying to just prevent detonation, I would say you probably could leave it at closer to 5 or 6 as your starting point. But since we are using it also for intake temp, we'll probably want to kind of reduce this and bring it down. And then the other important piece of this, you can check the instruction manual and take a look at the table, and based on the amount of horsepower you're putting out, you pick your injector size. And so for us, I think we're right around the maximum of the injector size that we picked, which is like the default size. It's 3 different sizes of nozzle, and we picked the middle one. And I think we're around where we want to be for that middle one. But we don't want to be injecting, we're only putting out 10 psi, but we don't want to leave it at 10. Or else we'll just be dumping the maximum amount of water meth that we could. And not only will we go through the water meth a lot quicker, but I just don't think we need that much. But we'll find out when we're at the tuner. I'm going to leave this more like 20. So we're really, even at max boost, only using probably half the water meth that we could. So that's where I'll leave it for now. We'll go on a quick test drive tomorrow and just see how that affects our air-fuel ratios and intake temps, and just kind of play around with it a little bit. But once we're on the dyno, then we'll get some real information for you guys.